Hi, this is episode 24 with Denise Duffield Thomas from Lucky Bitch. Welcome to Moms That Rock. My name is Jo Ebisujima from jojoebi.com. I'm a creator, an educator, an organizer, and a bit of a geek. Each podcast I share ideas and tips to help inspire you be the best mama you can be, plus interviews with other amazing mums that rock. So thank you for joining me today, and let's get the party started. So before I bring Denise on with me, I just wanted to tell you a little bit about Lucky Bitch. So I joined the Lucky Bitch bootcamp in 2012, and I didn't really think I had money blocks. I didn't think I had a problem with making money. How wrong I was. And I've learnt so much from Denise and the community over in Lucky Bitch that I'm really excited to have her on today. And I wanted specifically to concentrate on the things that we can do as parents to help our kids be comfortable with money so that they don't grow up with the same blocks that we are dealing with. So things about languaging and how we can set up the situation so that we are helping our kids financially, not in the sense of just giving them money, but financially so that they can be financially stable when they grow up and they have a good understanding of money and how it all works. So I hope you enjoy today's interview. I found it a lot of fun and a lot enlightening. So welcome, Denise. It's really exciting having you here.
Thanks, Jo. I'm really excited to talk to you as well. We've obviously been in each other's lives for a while, and I'm excited to see what questions you've got for me today.
Well, to start off, can you tell us a bit about yourself and your family?
Yes, well, I was born in Australia, and then in my early 20s, I moved to London for a little bit and met my hubby, Mark, who is English. And we now have a little baby called Willow. She is almost 17 months old, and we now live in Newcastle, Australia. But when people ask me where I live, I always say Facebook because that's the only constant, right? We could move somewhere else.
Yeah.
So I feel like Facebook's my home, and Newcastle, Australia just happens to be my current geographical location.
So when you started Lucky Bitch, you started before you had children.
Yes.
How did things change when baby came along?
Yeah, a lot. But you know what? I prepared for it for a long time. And the way I prepared for being a mum is how I do money stuff as well, right? So the first exercise we teach on my money bootcamp is that we look at all your money memories and see what experiences you've had as a kid and what negative beliefs you have around money. So for me, I knew it was kind of coming up time when we should start having a baby. And I did the same thing. I looked at all my memories associated with what being a parent would be and all my negative associations with that as well, because I had a lot of negative thoughts about becoming a mum and what that would mean for my life and my business and my body and my independence. And I spent about a year working through all of those negative beliefs with kinesiologists, with coaches, talking to my husband about them, talking to other mums, like really seeking out other mums, especially mums in business, to sort of say to me, well, tell me what this is really like. and also getting over, I had this fear ever since I was a little kid of being a teen mum, like my mum. And I really, it was always on my mind, don't ruin your future, all that kind of stuff that I think there's nothing wrong with having kids young, but I think if you feel like you want to break the cycle, if that's what happened with your mum, it might be a bit more on your mind. And it wasn't until I was like 31, 32, and I just sort of went, wow, if I have a baby now, I'm definitely not a teen parent. But I had to kind of get over all of those negative fears. And it's funny because that process can work for any goal, anything you want to work towards. You have to look at what negative beliefs you have, and you have to clear those before you can move forward and manifest what you want.
So how did you prepare your business for the practicalities? How did you go about that?
Yeah, well, I was really cognizant of that because I thought, wow, my business is so important to me and my life, and I really love my business. And also, I knew that if I could keep my business running, it meant that I could make different choices. I could have a lot more freedom. I could get help. I could do a lot of stuff with the abundance from my business. So I knew I wanted to protect my business as much as possible. So before I even started consciously thinking about getting pregnant, as in before we even started trying, I started preparing my business. So I started creating more passive income products and services. So it wouldn't be just my time that I had to spend on my business. So starting to prepare some of those and putting together some of my knowledge into programs and courses and products and books. So I knew that I didn't have to, have breastfeed a baby in one hand and be speaking to someone on Skype, and trying to juggle all of that. The other thing that I did, which I was so grateful to myself for after the fact, was I started batching content. So before I had Willow, I had about 6 months worth of video content ready to go, and I never said I was pregnant in any of the videos. Like, I kind of filmed from the boobs up, but I'm sure my boobs were starting to get bigger and bigger. And yeah, and so all of that content rolled out after I had Willow, and that gave me space because I knew that I was still delivering consistency to my audience. They weren't going to forget about me. People could still join my business and get new content, but it gave me a bit of breathing space. And when I did that, I started to realize, wow, this batching thing that everyone's been telling me about for years, that's actually really smart. And everyone who's told me that were like, yeah, we've been telling you that for years. And I was like, I didn't get it until I had to do it.
Yeah.
And then using that same kind of philosophy, I looked at, well, what else can I streamline? What else can I delegate? And I'm not a great delegator. I'm not a natural delegator. I'm not a naturally organized person. But I've just managed to put a few things like that into place where it meant that I'm not scrambling every week for content, or I'm not having to pull all-nighters to finish something. I've very much embraced let other people help you, especially if it's not in your zone of genius.
Yeah. Yeah, and the batching, it's one of the things that I teach in my Organised Chaos is not just business-wise, but, everyday stuff as well, being a mom stuff, batching things as well. It makes a huge difference.
Exactly, and you can't do it all yourself.
No. And I think even if you're kind of well prepared, when baby comes along, there's all the emotional stuff as well that you're not really prepared for, because reading a book, you never really get it, what's going to happen.
Exactly.
So can you tell us a bit more about what Lucky Bitch is about?
Yes. So my company's name started because when I started changing my life, and by that I mean I really started to look at my thoughts and beliefs, my language, the things I was saying out loud about myself and my business. I really noticed how much negative stuff was around me, people, and I was in a job I didn't like, but I spent the whole day bitching about it, all that stuff that kind of creates more of that. And so I started changing my thoughts and my feelings and my language, and my life started to change and things started happening very, very quickly. And I remember my friends starting to say, oh, you were such a lucky bitch. And I was saying to them, no, I'm doing all this stuff. I'm clearing my beliefs, and I'm reading these kind of books, and I'm going to seminars, and I'm doing all this stuff. Like, it's not luck that this is happening, but how this is happening. And so, and then as my life kind of got luckier from the outside, it wasn't an accident, but people still started calling me a lucky bitch, especially my old friends who, so I just went, well, let's embrace that, because any woman who has had any success in any area of her life, whether it's money or having a great family or, having well-behaved children, sometimes that's not luck either. Having a great marriage, when people say to you on that side, well, you're so lucky and that's why you've been able to do it. And I decided to call the company Lucky Bitch because it's a way of making fun of that. But also I teach the how to, I very often teach people, no, it's not an accident. Here are some steps that you can follow. Even things that are kind of a bit airy-fairy, like the law of attraction, to say to people, oh, there's a garbage truck going by, sorry about the noise, to say to people, it is no accident that you can manifest things and make things real in your life. Here are the steps you can follow, and making it very practical for people. And the result will still be the same, right? You'll get what you want, and then someone will always call you lucky or a lucky bitch.
Yeah, because that was one of the things that attracted to me to Lucky Bitch, was because you weren't so woo-woo as some of the other abundance teachers. And I could connect with what you were saying because there was the practical steps, and I'm a very practical person. It wasn't all, go and burn some sage and get naked in front of the moon or something. So it was like proper practical things that I could actually do, that, I could get naked in front of the moon, but I could actually
do that
see the
as well,
steps.
and do these other things. Yeah. Well, I'm a Virgo, so I'm a very practical person as well. And I really struggled when I was first learning about personal development, because it felt like I had to earn it by being a better person, rather than doing practical things. So that's why I started to deconstruct it for my clients. That's why I started writing books about it. And because I wanted to say to people, hey, you want this amazing success? Well, here are 10 things you can do to start moving towards that. And my philosophy is throw everything at it. Do the woo-woo and the practical at the same time. Meditate for sure, but take action and do everything. When people ask me which is the best system to use, or which is the best personal development tool, my answer is always try everything and see how it works. And that works in the parenting world too. Yeah. One thing that might work for one child doesn't work for your other child. And when it is your kids, you do want to try everything, and you want to leave no stone unturned. And when it comes to our own dreams and our own goals for our life, we have to take that same philosophy. Well, if that doesn't work, it doesn't mean it's not meant to be. If that doesn't work, I'm going to find another way, and, make it as intensely practical as you can. So you can take action every day on your kind of so-called wildest dreams.
Yeah, it's the whole practicality side that really drew me in, because I'm not a woo-woo type of person, really. Although I do meditate and EFT and things now too.
Yeah.
So going back to kind of the languaging and the stories, a lot of the stuff that you teach is about what happened in our past and how that affects us now. So as parents, what can we be doing to make sure that cycle's broken for our kids, that we're giving them the best start? Because obviously that's what everyone wants to do.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm so passionate about this topic, obviously even more so now that I have a baby as well. So the biggest gift that you can give for your own children is to look at your own money stuff, not just for them, but for you and for yourself, because it's role modeling behavior. It's role modeling a level of self-care and self-awareness that they will model more than actually what you say. And what you tell them to do, as we know as parents, right? They watch us intensely all the time, and they listen to us intensely all the time. Even really young babies like mine, she's 17 months, and she'll pick up my mobile phone, as all kids do, and she'll have a conversation in it, and she's probably repeating what she hears me say on the phone all the time. So that's the biggest gift that we can give, is to go after our own dreams, and to also explore in ourselves why we think we're not allowed to have our own dreams or our own money, or to be as abundant as we can. So that's definitely the first step. And we do that by looking at our own past and what our own parents said about money, and what we made that mean as adults, and how we are continuing to make that mean and continuing to make those things true. For example, one of your parents might have said, well, money doesn't grow on trees. You have to work really, really hard to make money. And, that can just be a throwaway comment. They might not have meant so much by it. But sometimes as children, we take that on as gospel. And then we repeat that over and over again by working incredibly hard to make money, and almost sabotaging ourselves when things get too easy, because it goes counter culture, I guess, to what we believe, which is deep down, we have to work hard to make money. And if you're not working hard, it doesn't count. You're cheating, all that kind of stuff. And that's particularly difficult for women in business, especially women who've got an online business, because suddenly, we're just talking to people, or we're just writing on the internet, or, we're just doing something that we enjoy, and so it starts to feel a little bit icky in ourselves. It starts to feel a bit inappropriate to make money in that way, and that's why I see a lot of female entrepreneurs start to sabotage their business, or they don't even get started because they're so afraid of earning money in a way that's easy and enjoyable to them. So you can see that that's just one comment that your parents might have said, and there could be, everyone's got their own flavor of things or their own memories that they're making real today. So when you're aware of that, not only can you heal it in yourself and stop sabotaging it in yourself, but you can change your language for your own children and be very aware of things that you're saying. So things like afford that, or the working hard is such a great one, or money doesn't grow on trees, or you're not good with money, so we're gonna hold on to your pocket money because you're not good with money. Things like that, especially for girls, are so damaging, and they could live their whole life believing that, and not just believing it at a mental level, but living their life as if that is true. So you can see that actually what we say is definitely an important part of it. But it's not just a matter of changing our language. We have to change ourselves, because then the languaging becomes easier because we don't believe it anymore. So this is one of the most unselfish things you can do as a parent, is to give yourself the gift of abundance, of earning money easily and in ways that are enjoyable to you, and role modeling living a first-class life, whatever that means to you. Not just having the most expensive, but spending your money and earning your money in ways that bring you joy.
Yeah. So with the languaging, can we have some like practical examples?
Absolutely.
So for example, if your kid comes home from school and wants the latest 3D DS whatever gadget, and you don't have the money to just go out and buy it, what do you sort of say in those situations?
Yeah, I think one of the biggest gifts we can teach our children is discernment, and really knowing the joy of spending money on stuff that they actually choose, right? And this can be really difficult because as a teenager, I remember what it was like as well, and I'm sure you do, Joe, when you wanted something so desperately, and your whole life hinged on it, and you were your parents miserable for it. So I think it's trickier with teenagers, for sure. And I think, but as teenagers, you can really encourage them to earn their own money. And I think if you just take out "we can't afford that" as a sentence, all of us are going to be we're going to be forced to be more creative with what we say. So a few friends of mine who have got older kids and who are way more experienced in this than I am say things like, that's a fantastic idea. I love it. Let's go and look at it, and dream about it. And then we can come up with ideas about how we can get the money. Yeah. So it's a completely different experience from "we can't afford that." That's not the kind of thing that we buy because, and kids start to make up stories about that. Oh, well, we must be poor, and sometimes they even start to feel unsafe. It's like, oh, well, if we can't afford things, maybe we can't afford our rent. Maybe we can't afford our house. Maybe we can't afford food. And I know it sounds a bit overdramatic, but some kids really go there when they hear "we can't afford that" often enough. And, you've got to think for yourself, when you heard that as a kid, what did that bring up for you? So, but that energy of like, oh my God, that is a great idea. That is so cool. Can we go and have a look at it? Let's brainstorm 20 ways that we can come up with money for it. Let's put a picture of it on the wall and put a chart, and, every $5 that we get towards that, we'll fill it in. And when you do things like that, whether you have the money or not, and this is something that is really on my mind, because I don't mind telling you, Joe, I have a lot of money. I have so much more money than my mum raising me, right? I can't use the excuse "we can't afford it" because I can afford it. And I'm not saying that to brag, but I'm saying to illustrate the point that I still want to do this as well, because it teaches resilience, delayed gratification, creativity, all of that kind of stuff. And, I think I don't want my kids to be spoiled brats, for being able to have what they want either. So either way, that can cause some stuff in our kids. But feel how expansive that feels in itself. and then you know too if that is something that they really want, like if they're willing to wait for it and save towards it and come up with ideas for it rather than just buy me it, buy me it, buy me it. And I know that that's going to be tricky for all of us as parents. For the littler ones, my friend Marissa from Beautifully Organized, she says, "Oh my God, that's an amazing idea. Let's put it on your Christmas list or your birthday list, whatever's coming up next." You know, rather than saying we can't afford it, because it just cuts that off. Same with like that thing that parents tell kids sometimes of like, you know, when you're older, you have to do really well in school so you can get a good job and work really hard and pay your bills. And you know, you can just change that to be like, wow, what are you going to do as an adult? You know, what things would you love to do to earn money in ways that you love? And again, role modeling that, you know, and role modeling, especially if maybe you work from home and, you know, some people's husbands go away. And I'm saying it to Willow right now. I say, oh, look, mummy's on the computer because this is my job and I love my job. And daddy works out of the home and he's at his job and he loves his job as well. And just to kind of just get them to see that love and money are not mutually exclusive.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think that's really important, especially for moms of girls as well, especially in Japan anyway. There's that big difference between the male and the female over here. So modelling that you can have a job and you can fit it around the family and you're doing something that you love and you don't have to go and, you know, do a 2-hour commute every day. And I think that makes a huge difference. And I love the fact that my son can see that I'm working and I'm enjoying it and I can turn it off and I can go and do stuff with him. And, you know, there's a whole world out there that they don't get to see otherwise. So, and also things that when we went to see a Star Wars exhibition the other day, and I was like, it's so cool that it's somebody's job to make these little models. And there was like models of the different things in Star Wars. And he was like, oh, I didn't think about that as a job. And I think just, you know, explaining that there are these cool jobs out there and it isn't all about the money. Obviously money's important, but I think if you're doing something that you absolutely love, then the money is kind of secondary.
Absolutely. And it's just, reinforcing that you're allowed to do what you love. You're allowed to have a job that you really like. And especially for us women, you know, to role model that is hugely important.
So, I forgot what I was going to say. Yeah, one of those train of thoughts going through.
Yeah. It's early for both of us.
Yeah.
For people watching.
I haven't had all my caffeine yet.
Exactly.
So, what about pocket money? How would you handle that? I know Willow's a little bit young for pocket money yet.
She's a little bit young. So I'm reading about that at the moment to figure out what's the best way to handle that. And I think, you know, we're in an exploration for a lot of us women. For some of us, you know, certainly my mum has not earned a lot of money in her life, you know, so, and my grandmother had a part-time job, you know, so for our generation, some of us might be the first or maybe only the second women in our generation to earn our own money. So we're figuring stuff out, you know, we're figuring it out. And one book that I'm reading at the moment is called The Opposite of Spoiled. And that's about how to raise kids with awareness and appreciation of money. And the Dave Ramsey books, he's got one about kids and money as well. So I recommend that people read those and have a look. And they do have slightly different messages around pocket money. But one thing I think they both agree on is to not tie everything to money. You know, that sometimes that there are just things that everyone has to do as part of being a family.
Yeah.
You know, and not say, oh well, you know, stack the dishwasher and I'll pay you $1 for it. You know, there could be some things that everyone just has to do as being part of the family, and then giving them opportunities to earn money on top of that. So I know growing up, there were some times where we didn't have any pocket money if my mum couldn't afford it, and there were we would get some, and it would be tied to certain chores. But there were things that we had to do anyway. So I think it's important to look at your own childhood, how your own parents dealt with pocket money. See if there's anything there that damaged you so you can know what not to do. See if there are any things there that were positive and fun and made you feel good about money. So some people, their families made them budget it. Some of them made them give some away or keep some for taxes, or they had to pay from a certain age. Some of them had to pay for their own clothes or own makeup or whatever. So there's so many different philosophies around pocket money. I don't know which one I'm going to go with yet. It's going to be trial and error. I like I think Dave Ramsey did this, where at a certain point they add up all the expenses that a kid would have over the school year. And I don't think his kids go to a school where they had school uniform. And so they actually had to buy their own clothes out of that allowance. And he said it was fascinating seeing how some kids, really saved it and spent it on something amazing that they really wanted. And then one of the other kids would just blow it all the time. So, it's a social experiment as well, right? And I think for all of us, all we can do is just to research different ways, see what's working for other parents, and it's trial and error.
Yeah, I think a lot of it comes down to awareness because before Lucky Bitch, I wasn't really aware of the language I was using. And so joining Lucky Bitch helped me change that and be aware of that, so that now, I know what to say or what not to say, kind of thing. So just the awareness, I think, makes a huge difference.
Absolutely. And I will definitely write a book about kids and money in my lifetime, but I might have one more and have be a bit older before I go into that. But there are a lot of great books for us to start reading.
Yeah, because I do that with Ebikun. He has jobs that he has to do because he's part of the family, but then he also gets pocket money for specific jobs. So, and then he splits that. He has spend, save, and give.
Oh, great.
So that, he buys his presents out of his give money, or any donations or whatever. And then the save is for something big that he wants. And then the spend is if he wants to, buy a comic or a book or something he's got there. So that's the way we've been doing it.
And that's one of the methods that I've read that sounds like a perfect method, to teach a little bit. It might not be perfect, each time, but just to teach a little bit of delayed gratification. And I love that you've used the give one to buy presents and things like that for it, because we're not religious, and so we don't give money to a church, but it's we do give money to causes that that us. So I think that's great to have that give, to teach them that value of helping other people too.
Yeah. And as you say, and we've only got one, and I'm only going to have one. And it's all a bit of experiment. You don't know whether you're doing it right or not.
Exactly. And we've just got to try our best, and be aware. We're not going to be perfect. I'm not going to raise children who have got perfect mindset about money just because of the work that I do, because I don't have a perfect mindset on money. But just being aware will help so much, and teaching them to be aware will help so much, and role modeling good money behaviors and role modeling, I think, more love and acceptance will probably teach them more than anything else.
Great. Okay, so we're running out of time. So final question, who or what inspires you?
Great question. Women inspire me. I am such a passionate supporter of women in business and women doing good things in the world, and in the Western world, for sure, and in my world, I'm still only the first generation of my family to earn my own money and to go to university and all of that kind of stuff. And then you look around the world, and there are still women struggling with all sorts of issues around not being empowered around money. And so I'm inspired by just women taking control of their destiny, women in every country who are earning their own money and who are doing good in the world, I mean, my own mum, she's completely changed her views on money in the last year, and she's just bought an investment property. And, for someone who's never had a full-time job, who's never really been super paid well, who, you know, has had a lot of children. It's so inspiring that she has just by changing her mindset around money and what she's been able to achieve in a very short period of time. And I'm so inspired when I see women who we just realize it's not about having the biggest, shiniest, whatever. It's about creating our version of a first-class life and learning that it's okay to deeply and completely love and accept yourself. Is incredibly, incredibly inspiring to me.
Right, thank you. So where can people find you or find more about? I'll put all the links in the show notes anyway.
Yeah, sure. Well, I'm at luckybitch.com, and very, very easy to find online because you can just Google Denise Lucky Bitch. Very, very easy to find. And I love to hear from new members of the Lucky Bee community. Like, once you're in, you're kind of in for life. And it's a community of positivity and sisterhood, and all of us learning and growing with our money and in our lives and creating our version of a first-class life. So please look me up and you know, send me a tweet and tell me what your big aha was from this interview. My Twitter handle is @DeniseDT. I'd love to hear from you.
Great. And I have to say, I'm in a lot of Facebook groups, and Lucky Bitch is definitely my favourite one. It's such a great community, supportive community, and
yeah,
my favourite.
It's beautiful. One. Yes, thank you for that. And it's just testament of women supporting women. You know, it's been such a great success because people in there are willing to show up, willing to look at their money blocks, willing to support each other, and it's a beautiful thing to see women like that.
And having the freedom to talk about money, because I think it's one of those things that people feel, you know, resistant about normally.
Absolutely. And I really wanted to provide a safe space for us to brag about money and to share our challenges and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, it's, you know, find someone in your life that you can have those conversations with, for sure. It will make such a huge difference in your life.
Yeah. Well, thank you again. It's been great. I'm really excited to actually speak to you properly.
Thanks, Jo.
So a big thank you to Denise for joining us today, and I hope as listeners you got out of it as much as I did. And if you had any aha moments or, you know, light bulb moments, whatever you want to call them, please pop them in the comments section or tweet us up and let us know what it is. I will include all the links that we talked about today in the show notes. So if you're listening to this on iTunes, then you need to go over to jojoebby.com/luckybitch. Lucky Bitch is one word. And find all the links. So Denise is closing down Lucky Bitch as it stands right now, but she's upgrading. So if you jump in now, you will automatically get the upgrade. So if you're interested in joining, this is a really good time to do it because it's going to be a lot cheaper than the upgraded version that'll open in October time, I think. And I do have affiliate links. Of course, I would appreciate it if you used my links because that'll make me a bit of money as well. And as I said, they'll all be in the show notes. And if you've got any questions, you know, pop them in the comments. And I hope that the things that we talked about can help you to address the issues with your kids. And let us know your experiences because, you know, all kids are different, and even from the same family, sometimes the way one person uses money is different to another. You know, me and my brother are like chalk and cheese when it comes to money. So even though we grew up in the same family, our experiences and the stories that we told ourselves are completely different. So please do share your insights as well. I'd love to know what's going on. And don't forget to come and join us in the Moms That Rock free Facebook group. And that is it for today. I can't wait to see you again next week. Thank you for joining me.